Hey YouTube, Coppersan here. Today we're taking a look at the evolution of MapleStory in the West, all the way from its debut back in 2005 until 2021. The year is 2005. The MMO space is slowly being filled up with exciting MMOs like Lineage 2, Me Online, Fly for Fun, World of Warcraft and Guns to Duel. While 3D MMOs are all the rage, the Korean publisher Nexon decided to bring the by Wizard developed 2D MMORPG MapleStory to the West. MapleStory started off as a relatively small MMO. After its beta, it had 10 different classes and the game world already had a couple of continents to explore. MapleStory started as a very grindy and time-consuming MMO. Your character wasn't very mobile and the maps were huge, so getting somewhere would take time. Leveling up could also easily take hours, even at lower levels. However, because it was 2005, computers started to become a lot more accessible in homes, and for many, MapleStory was their first online gaming experience. Because leveling was slower paced, there was a lot of time to socialize and train with others. Many would spent hours competing in party quests, which usually consisted of stages with objectives for the party to complete. However, only one party could enter at a time, so players were highly competitive in trying to get in. In the first year of service, the third job advancement was added at level 70, giving all classes new skills. However, for many players, reaching the max level would still be years away. New high level areas kept being added, as well as the fourth job advancement, which unlocked at level 120, but it still took more than 3 years for the player Fangblade to reach the max level of 200. Most classes couldn't max their skills and there were different weapon specializations to focus on. However, there usually was a more preferred way to build characters, which most players followed. MapleStory continued to be updated with new content, with big updates almost hitting every month. In 2008, MapleStory also released its first ever new class and job branch, the Pirates. The Gunslinger and Brawler classes were met with a lot of hype, but did fall off in popularity afterwards. The many updates also included a lot of boss monsters. Bossing in MapleStory usually required a full party and they were quite a challenge to take down. But over the years, players did become better at it. Some were even able to solo bosses that needed a party of at least 12 people just a few years ago. More and more classes kept being released over the years, but it wasn't until 2010 that it was clear that the developer wanted to change the direction of their monetization strategy. For the previous 5 years, mostly cosmetic items were sold in the game's cash shop, where real-life currency could be used to purchase fashion items, EXP cards and more. But with the introduction of the Evan and Dual Blade class, for the first time, skill books for these classes were added to the cash shop as well. For some reason, the developer Nexon figured it would be a great idea to lock core skills of newer classes behind a paywall. However, this affected the popularity of these classes in a bad way. Thankfully, this was a tactic that wasn't repeated again for newer classes, but it was clear that work was being done to increase their earning. Thus, later that year, the potential system was released. Almost every item in the game can get this potential, and it could be reset and ranked up in tiers, with each tier providing better in-game stats. There were ways to reset the potential until a certain tier for free. However, cash items bought with real-life currency were introduced with higher tier up chances, and it are those items that are probably making still the most revenue for MapleStory till this day. I only have a graph available for the Korean version, but I'm assuming that the earning behavior or spending behavior is probably the same for the global version. 2010 was a big year for MapleStory with a ton of changes. It also marked the year of the Big Bang update. After this update, the UI got an update, maps got changed and streamlined, classes got changed, and of course more classes got released with this update as well. The EXP curve was adjusted with this update as well, slowly shifting the meta from party quests to grinding. However, players were still grinding together thanks to the addition of party play areas, where the more party members are on the map, the more EXP bonuses could be obtained. 2010 also started a new narrative for the game, focusing on an ultimate evil, the Black Mage, which would be the main focus point of the game's story for many years to come. Starting with the Big Bang update, bigger updates would get their own title, and right after the Big Bang update, the next big update was the Chaos update, introducing PvP to MapleStory after 6 years of service. There were multiple PvP modes that players could participate in, but not for long, as the year after PvP would be removed again already. Slowly, classes would start getting revamped to keep up with increasing class roster. Newer classes kept getting more and more flashy and mobile, and the older classes just couldn't keep up anymore. In 2013, this changed with a ton of class revamps with a massive Red update. Most classes just got a lot flashier and a lot more mobility, with most of them getting their own double jump skills. 2013 also marked the year of the Kanna release, and with this class came spawn enhancers that changed the game's meta forever. Kanna has a skill that increases the amount of monsters on the map, so to train faster, most players would create a Kanna to boost the amount of monsters in the map. Because MapleStory is such a grindy game, the players will make use of any way to level up faster. At this point, most party play maps were phased out again, with several more EXP curve changes happening over the years as well. Leveling up to level 200 has been made a lot easier, but in exchange the max level was also increased to level 250. More and more the game focused more on solo content and solo progression. With classes becoming stronger and getting revamped over time, most older bosses could easily be defeated without a party. Only the newer added bosses would still require a party for most people. In 2014, combos and runes were added, as well as elite monsters and bosses. This didn't really change the way players grinded, but it did shape the grinding landscape. Right now we're still having those things and we probably couldn't live without them anymore. 2014 also marked the year that spell traces were added, making most scrolls which were used for upgrading items obsolete. In 2015, 10 years after launch, MapleStory updated their graphic engine, adding skeletal animations instead of the sprite animations they've been using since forever. Every movement in the game is an image, and that's part of the reason why MapleStory is so massive in size when you download it. The Kinesis class and Ursus boss make use of this animation style, and later more would follow, taking MapleStory's timeless graphics to a new level. 2015 also marked the release of the Reboot server, a server where certain items that could be bought for real currency only could be bought with the in-game currency. Many players would make the shift to this server since it is more free-to-play friendly and focuses more on progression. To this day, almost half the entire MapleStory population plays on the Reboot server. 2015 also drove the story forward by a lot by adding the Black Heaven blockbuster, an epic story that spanned multiple hours of content and that was followed up by the Heroes of Maple blockbuster the year after. In 2016, MapleStory is starting to look a lot more like the game we know nowadays, with the release of the 5th job update and the Arcane River adding a ton of needed endgame content and new skills for players to enjoy, changing the way some classes play the game. In 2017, the Legion system got added. There was a similar system before, but this one was a bit more fleshed out. Every character past a certain level shows up in the Legion system. It can be assigned to a grid to provide bonus stats, and each class has their own benefits as well. This system made it very beneficial to level up multiple characters on your account. Together with the link skill system that was added a few years prior, players really needed to build up their account with Legion and link skill mules to buff up their main character. Over the years, the Arcane River and 5th Jump kept getting expanded on, and even adding some more PQs, even though those could be solid as well, but there's still the occasional party doing those. Most party play is happening at boss fights at this point. More and more bosses kept getting added as the Arcane River expanded. With the Lucid, Will and Hilla bosses being added, the MapleStory story finally reaches climax in 2019, when the Black Mage could be fought and defeated. We actually are getting pretty close to the current day MapleStory. At this point, there are no massive class revamps, and new content is mostly focused on endgame players, as the max level is already level 300. Other changes are focused on convenience and of course adding more classes. At the time of this video there are already 48 classes in the game, with the 49th class already on the way. The story continues as well, with the big baddie, the Black Mage, being defeated. A new evil is rising to become an even bigger baddie. Nowadays players will breeze through early game content with changed EXP curves. Party play is more a thing of the past, as most players grind solo. Party quests also aren't really a thing anymore, except for some past level 200, but those can be easily soloed. Most social interaction in this game comes from guilds and endgame bosses that require either a party or a credit card without spending limits. There's a big focus on daily and weekly quests that have to be completed to progress on characters. Most content past level 200 is time gated, but there are events to speed things up. MapleStory is a game where there's always some events going on. MapleStory is still MapleStory, but while back in 2007 you needed a lot of free time to grind your character, in 2021 you still need a lot of free time, but also for your dailies, building up your legion, participating in events, and of course grinding. And that was the evolution of MapleStory. As always, many thanks to our members for making this video possible. Thanks to Niels, Coninck, Raar, maar waar, Sebastian, Hanoy, Alex, Ryalias, Terry Kim, Vareese, Dries, Zumker, Plux, Wiley, Francisco Sousa, Historycanon, BackSpaceOTI, ceemak, Saffronyx, Lorenzo, BG Extremes, Anwar NHI, Brendon, Frank Bouquit, Ziggy Deer, Flidiot, Beamer WT, Knifesuit, Chen125, Pinky Traveler, Cloudfix, Gutsus Rodriguez, Sir QQ Morse, Froggy11, Sir Tito655, Grayson Lee, Ricer RU, Brendan Cam, M, Vira, Bruno H, Dular, Trevor, Yuki436, Afterlord_MS, Sinfralido, Ryalias, Johnman, Lucky Beats, and Justin Ville. If you would like to be mentioned here as well and get early access to new videos, make sure to check out that join button below this video. Thank you all so much for watching, stay safe, and happy mapling!